The Prime Minister ringing the proverbial election bell, pledges of free electricity for residents with stipulations, and PLP members predicting the party will win 30 seats in the upcoming general election. We've got these stories and others. I'm your host, Nikos Gavella, and this is the Tribune's Top 5. The National Health Insurance Secretariat this week announced that enrollment for NHI will begin on April 24th, at which time Bahamians will be able to choose their primary care provider. Family medicine practitioners, general practitioners, internists, obstetricians, gynecologists, and pediatricians will be available for selection at that time. Peter DeVoe-Isaacs, the permanent secretary for the NHI Secretariat, told the Tribune this week that the list of doctors people can choose from will be made available early next week, along with the list of locations people can go to register. The NHI Secretariat announced last week that more than 60 doctors have registered with the entity so far. To enroll, people will need their NIB Smart Card and proof that they have resided in the Bahamas for the last 6 months. Only Bahamian citizens and legal residents can be enrolled. In addition to in-person enrollment opportunities, online enrollment will also be available. The NHI Secretariat said people with private insurance must provide their insurance group policy and member ID number. Once enrollment forms are processed, people can expect to receive either their confirmation of their enrollment and primary care provider selection within 10 business days. Once enrollment forms are processed, people can expect to receive either their confirmation of their enrollment and primary care provider selection within 10 business days or be contacted for additional documentation. The NHI Secretariat announced last week that the National Health Insurance Act has come into force, empowering the government to begin staffing the National Health Insurance Agency and to begin transitioning people from public health organizations to the NHIA. The Tribune understands that the government may have already signed contracts with companies responsible for establishing and managing the NHI public insurer, as well as NHI's information technology system. The Christie administration has chosen a prominent foreign health company to run the public insurer, the Tribune understands. NHI will exist in several phases. The primary healthcare phase will cover mostly basic services, diagnostic imaging, and some medications prescribed by doctors. Top government officials concede that despite the benefits of primary healthcare, a challenge they will encounter will be managing the expectations of people who may not realize this phase does not cover all medical services. The Christie administration has also set aside money for selective catastrophic coverage, although the details about what will be prioritized in this phase have not been disclosed. The final phase, full benefits coverage, will come on stream at a later date. Officials have said a new tax will likely be required to pay for the final phase. Parliamentary Commissioner Sherlyn Hall this week said just over 170,000 people had registered to vote for the upcoming general election as of Tuesday. This follows what he described as a mad rush of people registering to vote on Monday, the last day of registration. Mr. Hall also pledged this week that his department has the ability to produce a clean voters register, but said that can only happen if Bahamians do not contaminate it by registering more than once. Mr. Hall said that the honest participation of all citizens would be the determining factor in the department's production of a clean register, adding that things would go a lot smoother if people, quote, tell us the truth about their registration history. Deputy Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis also weighed in on the matter this week and called on Bahamians to assist Mr. Hall in producing a clean register, saying, and I quote, the correctness of the register is not the sole responsibility of the Parliamentary Commissioner or his offices, end quote. There were 172,000 people registered to vote in the 2012 general election. The Parliamentary Registration Department is now engaged with correcting and editing the voter register, ridding it of its much publicized errors. Last Thursday, Free National Movement Chairman Sidney Cawley raised grave concerns regarding the election register, pointing to the discovery of 72 pages of duplicate registrations, names printed of persons born over 200 years ago and some who were born in 2017. Mr. Cawley described this as negligence and ineptitude, saying there are other irregularities that have come to light pointing to persons who were reportedly issued citizenship and voters' cards on the same day. Deputy Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis this week predicted that the Progressive Liberal Party will win 30 seats in the upcoming general election and that the Free National Movement will win just 9. In an interview on talk show Daryl Miller Live, Mr. Davis told the radio show's host the Bahamian people know it is too risky to put the country in the hands of the FNM and its leader Dr. Hubert Minnis, who he described as incompetent. Mr. Davis also questioned whether Dr. Minnis would remain leader of the FNM if he were to become successful in becoming the nation's leader. Mr. Davis urged undecided voters to attend the PLP's upcoming rallies to give the government an opportunity to explain to them why voting for the governing party is the best decision. Mr. Davis has been highly critical of Dr. Minnis during this election election cycle. Last week, he scolded Dr. Minnis for being unable to speak in Parliament and chastised the Killarney MP for, quote, hiding behind his Facebook page out of fear that the public will know, quote, Dr. Minnis has no idea what he is talking about, end quote. He said Dr. Minnis did nothing while he was cabinet minister in the last administration, nothing while he was in the official opposition, and will continue to do nothing if he is elected to lead the country. The PLP won 29 seats in the 2012 general election, while the FNM won 9. The Democratic National Alliance, a third party, did not win any seats but captured about 10% of the vote. 3 members of the PLP left the party during this term, with 2, Bambootown MP Renwood Wells and Fort Charlotte MP Dr. Andre Rollins, joining the FNM. Marco City MP Greg Moss also quit the PLP this term but remained an independent before forming his own party. The North Abaco seat, won by former Prime Minister Hubert Ingraham in 2012, went to PLP MP Renardo Curry in a by-election later that year. 39 seats are up for grabs in the upcoming election. The Progressive Liberal Party said it plans to make the cost of electricity free to residential customers who limit their monthly use to below specified limits, continue the implementation of national health insurance, and stimulate job creation. The party also pledged this week to create a Ministry of Communication and Information to foster greater transparency and accountability, annual business planning and reporting for each government ministry, as well as a training program for older citizens who want to learn new skills. The promises are contained in the PLP's action plan for moving forward together, which the party said would be published on its relaunched website, www.myplp.org. In making its case for re-election, the PLP said its plan has several strategic priorities for the next 5 years, which are, and I quote, expanding opportunities, empowering Bahamians, protecting our citizens, caring for our people, preserving what makes the Bahamas special, and strengthening citizen participation in governance, end quote. The party also said it has a goal to be a, quote, modern, open, accountable, and service-oriented government, end quote. In this vein, the PLP proposes to launch Service Bahamas, which is touted as a, quote, one-window delivery of government services to eliminate wait times, end quote. On the promise of a Ministry of Communication and Information, the PLP said this new entity would be created to, quote, more deeply engage Bahamian citizens in consultation on legislation and decision-making, and introduce annual business planning and reporting for each ministry in order to allow for greater transparency and accountability, end quote. The PLP also said it has a number of plans to create more jobs and opportunities. To achieve these goals, the governing party pledged to implement the Bahamas Agriculture and Marine Science Institute across the Family Islands, focus on the development of creative industries with the aim of generating $1 billion of new money annually into the economy, and develop the sustainable harvesting of minerals and natural resources along with their associated value-added industries. Prime Minister Perry Christie rang the proverbial bell this week, announcing that the 2017 general election will be held on Wednesday, May 10. His televised address, given live at the office of the Prime Minister, came moments after Police Commissioner Ellison Greenslade, in his capacity as Provost Marshal, read proclamations outside the House of Assembly from Governor General Dame Marguerite Pinling dissolving Parliament. Mr. Christie said he is confident the election will be free and fair and will follow a spirited and peaceful campaign that is consistent with this country's political traditions. However, while many were looking forward to Mr. Christie's announcement, not everyone was happy with the date chosen, as it coincides with the anniversary of the deaths of Royal Bahamas Defense Force Marines aboard HMBS Flamingo in 1980. Observers recognize the tragic event as not only a defining moment in the history of the embryonic RBDF, but also for the relatively newly independent Bahamas. On the anniversary, officials normally hold a brief ceremony at the RBDF base in honor of the Marines. Meanwhile, both major parties have ratified all 39 of their candidates. The number of registrants for the election is more than 170,000, with Monday being the final day for registration. So far, CARICOM and the United States have accepted invitations to observe this year's election. The Progressive Liberal Party, which won 29 seats in 2012 compared to the Free National Movement's 9, is attempting to buck a trend that's been unfavorable to governing parties in this country's recent history. Bahamians have voted out the incumbent party in the past 3 consecutive elections. So far, Mr. Christie has boasted of the competency of his team of candidates, emphasizing that they are equipped to build on his administration's successes. FNM leader Dr. Hubert Minnis, however, has waged a campaign portraying the Christie administration as bumbling and unsuccessful. Among the various smaller political parties vying for votes, the Democratic National Alliance is the one expected to have the greatest impact, although many concede that the party faces an uphill battle against the 2 major parties. Want to get in on the discussion? Well, here's how you can. Just log on to our website, www.tribune242.com, like us on Facebook, Tribune News Network, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tribune242, or send us a tweet at Tribune242.